Again, thank you so much for joining our call today. Eliminated deficiencies and fines and how QSource can help you. Next slide. So, good afternoon and welcome to our webinar, Eliminating Deficiencies and Fine and how we at QSource can help you. As I said before, I'm Amanda Odom, the Long-Term Care Director at QSource, and I'm thrilled to share with this time with you today and some of the opportunities that we have had to help facilities across the nation in compliance. At QSource, we're committed to helping facilities like yours navigate regulatory challenges and improve quality outcomes. Today's session will focus on actionable strategies to help eliminate deficiencies and fines, ensuring your facility operates at its highest level um, of compliance and quality. Throughout this webinar, I'll outline our key services, provide examples of our real world success, and answer any of your questions. Let's begin by understanding who QSource is and what we bring to the table. Next slide. For over 50 years, QSource has been a trusted leader in quality improvement and quality assurance. Our mission is simple: to improve healthcare quality through patient-centered, provider-focused solutions. We work across a variety of healthcare settings. As you can see, long-term care is one of our biggest settings, but we also assist in hospital regulatory compliance, physician practices, and more, developing tailored solutions that address your facility's unique needs. Each facility is unique in their experiences and their journeys as far as regulatory compliance. So our solutions are geared towards your facility. Our team combines decades of experiences with results-driven approaches to help you achieve compliance, reduce deficiencies, and ultimately improve the lives of your residents. That's why we're all here. We get into long-term care for that very reason, is because we want to make a difference. Today, I'll share insight into three of our primary resources: survey readiness, post-survey consulting, and immediate jeopardy resolution, as well as some additional resources and initiatives that we'll touch upon, but those are our three focuses. Next slide. This is a national snapshot of the most up-to-date outcomes related to survey activity across our nation. Like I said previously, we assist facilities everywhere. This year alone, we've assisted a facility in California and just recently one in Michigan, all the way down to Florida and then back up. So we're everywhere. So if you're looking at this as a collective, you can see that there are approximately 1.3 million residents that reside in our long-term care facilities. Um, and we have a little over 15,000 nursing homes. Unfortunately, as our resident numbers grow due to influx of people living longer and the baby boomers, our nursing home beds do not grow. As a matter of fact, we continue to dwindle down. And one of the participating factors in us losing nursing home beds is related to the amount of deficiencies. It is very staggering of a number that we almost have had 400,000 deficiencies cited in 2020 to 2023. And out of those deficiencies, almost 7,000 were immediate jeopardy citations. When you're looking at that as a whole, you're thinking, oh, that's not a lot. To me, that is significant. And we can do better with that through survey readiness. I don't know about you, but I feel like the average fine for 18,000, a little over 18,000, that's pretty high, and that's a very big chunk of change. And if you look at that collectively overall, this is just fines alone. Over the last 3 years, CMS has been able to collect 566 million in fines. That is a staggering number. Statistics do not lie. Um, that to me is very significant. Those fines do not even take in the other labor intensive efforts when you're removing CMPs or immediate jeopardies, those high fine citations, working plans of corrections, etc. It doesn't take into consideration the facilities that have had to let key staff go because of these failures, and then training new. Um, the extra hours put into completing these processes and tasks. It doesn't take into that. And it also doesn't take in the almost, 3,300 payment denials that have occurred during this time frame too. It doesn't take into consideration, your operational cost as far as not being able to take new admissions, etc. So to me, that is very significant as far as this national snapshot goes, and it just even furthers the conversation of why regulatory compliance, survey readiness is so important for our industry. Next slide. So here is some key changes that are taking effect in the year 2025, fiscal year 2025, and this is related to our state survey agencies. So CMS has put together a memo that they released on October 23rd for the surveyors for their performance standards that begin this year. There are some retired measures, new measures that take in survey intake and quality domain. There's updated comparative survey measures, so how you compare to your peers. Enhanced scoring systems. So, scoring is going to be different as far as weight. They're focusing on immediate jeopardy cases. By September of 2025, CMS has put forth that the survey agencies must have a 30% decrease in the time of revisit and clearing of immediate jeopardy cases. Now, this takes into consideration too from the beginning if it's a self-reportable or it is an anonymous call to when they're sitting in the facility and they identify immediate jeopardy. So, a 30% decrease in the time of reaction is pretty significant, and that to us puts a lot of strain on us. We want to get rid of these immediacies as soon as possible. But the characteristics associated with it, with an immediate jeopardy, depending on why you were cited, can be significantly different and hard to clear at times. That's why we are here to help you with that. Also, one of the biggest things is enhanced timeliness and accountability, meaning that you are going to be held to a higher standard to clear these CMPs or harm tags, immediate jeopardies. Last but not least, is off-hour survey requirements. This is CMS is proposing that 10% of all state surveys will now be on off days, off hour days, meaning on holidays or over the weekends. They are pushing and moving away a Monday through Thursday survey surveying in facilities. Uh, the focus did state that over the weekend, it would be focused on facilities that were having issues with staffing compared to weekdays and weekends. But do not think for 1 minute that you're off the hook when it comes to that. If you are a facility that is doing well with PB&J on your weekends, etc., and doing well during the weekdays, good for you. But that does not mean, and they state specifically, that does not mean that they will not target you on the weekends. You're still open for that weekend survey or holiday surveys. So those are some things that we want to pay attention to. And also just a little FYI for the future for you guys. So please keep keep up with us and make sure that you are looking. We're just skimming through these today, but in the month of January, we will have a webinar associated with this, so you guys will be able to see these measures broken down extensively and what that means for you as far as your next annual survey, what CMS has put together for state performance standards for your state survey agencies. So make sure you come back to us and look for that sign up. Next slide. The next changes that are coming our way for state surveys are related to us, our long-term care survey process. This has been this update takes effect in quarter 1 of 2025. We have to be compliant with all of these updates by the 24th of February. I want you guys to understand this is a big change for us. Usually, our updates are not until October. Sometimes they occur in April, which is second quarter, but usually, typically, it's last quarter of the year. These changes go into effect the very first quarter. So, as of right now, you should be working on compliance and getting there. There are several different changes, as you can see across the board there. We will not dive into these today, but we will have a series of webinars that are coming up in January and through February to make sure that you guys are compliant or have the understanding on what your policies need to state, how they need to be reworded, what your staff need to know, your assessments need to have, etc., to meet these standards that have been set forth for the survey changes for 2025. We want to make sure you guys are set up in the right way, especially those facilities that are that are in their survey window during this time. You will be responsible to be compliant on the 24th if they walk into your facility the 24th. You will be held to these standards. So again, look for our upcoming sign-ups for these webinar series, so that way you will be in the know as far as this is concerned. Next slide. So some of our key services are highlighted here. These are the 3 that we're going to be focusing on, which is our survey readiness. Being proactive in your preparation is a sure-proof way to ensure your facility is ready when a surveyor shows up at your door. We all know that we're going to get surveyed. We all know that it's going to happen at some point in time. That's how we keep our licensures, and that's how we keep our facility open and running. So we have to have those annual surveys. So how you prepare yourself is key to how you will shine during your survey. This is something that we truly focus on and we really enjoy. Survey readiness for the facilities that participate this way. When you go into survey window, that's when you start survey preparedness. You will not do well in this new survey setting. You are setting yourself up for risk as such. You need to be prepared and continue survey readiness all the way through, meaning when you are done with your last survey, the very next day, it's time to start for the next survey and prepared. And it's what you do day in and day out that helps you succeed in that survey preparedness. Post-survey consulting, we have this here because a lot of times facilities contact us across the nation, of course. They have already gone through annual survey, and now what? They are in a pickle, so to say. So this comprehensive support addresses all sorts of deficiencies, and we implement those corrective actions. This includes directed plans of cares, just regular plans of cares. It's a low level tag, it's a state tag. Some states have state tags and they issue those a lot. Well, all states have state tags, but there's some states that we see that cross-reference state tags along with low-level deficiencies a lot of the time. So it just depends. We are used to Plans of corrections that can be anywhere from 10, 10 pages long all the way up to 400 plus. So we've worked all sorts of stuff. Um, it doesn't matter to us. We're just here to help you organize and get you back on compliance and back on track. And then, unfortunately, we do have immediate jeopardy resolution. Um, the facilities that have participated in this with us, I can't tell you enough of the compliments that we get from this. When you're in an immediate jeopardy situation, everything is moving at fast paced and fast speed, and you have to react in such a way. Unfortunately, in this kind of situation, you have to be reactive. And at the tail end, you can be proactive in ensuring that that immediate jeopardy does not happen again. But reactivity is important, and how you react is very critical in how fast you resolve your immediacy of the citation and you stabilize your operations. And when we talk about stabilization of operations, we mean across the board. We mean your resident population, your staff population, your labor intensive, direct PPD, etc. You have to stabilize all the way across, not just completing the action of correction to remove the immediacy, but also all the way across the board, and making sure that all your systems are in compliance so that when they come in for revisit, because they will, you do not have any other risk associated with this. Our team is always there if you request us on site within 24 to 48 hours. We have not gone past that 48-hour mark. But while someone is getting to your facility wherever you are located, someone is here remotely starting that process with you to get you back into compliance. So it goes both ways. Next slide. So let's just break down what our survey readiness program even consists of. It's of course it is simulated surveys. Again, every facility knows that a state survey can bring significant pressure. Um, Most of the time when we have a state survey, uh, everybody's emotions and stress level is on high, and that is felt all the way across your facility and staff, and for your residents and family members. But with the right preparation, this can become a significant opportunity to showcase your facility's strengths. And that's what we want with this. We want you to be proactive and we want you to shine in your surveys so that the state sees, or the feds, whichever, they see how what you do on a day-to-day basis, and you get to show them all of your good qualities. At QSource, we replicate that survey process through our mock surveys, and they mirror those real world scenarios. We have compliance checklists, we use our key element pathways, and we do in-depth observation for your readiness. We complete this on site, usually in 3 days, but our work really doesn't stop there. When we're done with your observation, as far as a mock survey goes, we compile all of your data and your risk into what we call a comprehensive survey readiness report, and this highlights all of your potential risk. So if we identify something that is a higher risk than another, then it goes to the top of the list. With those identified risks, we give you areas of why you are not compliant with that federal regulation underneath those regulatory groups, and what that could mean for you. Some regulatory groups are grouped in substandard quality of care, and those hold the CMPs for you, right? And they also have an increase to have higher citations in those if you're non-compliant in those areas. No longer is there a pattern needed, and we've seen this across the nation as we've helped facilities with survey readiness, post-survey, immediate jeopardy citations, etc. There no longer has to be identified pattern, particularly for you to be cited these high fines, or these higher citations like harm tags, immediate jeopardies. It could be one, and you could not show stabilization in your process in some form or fashion with that one, and they can cite you. Um, and it's always been like this, but we had grace prior, and a lot of times now we do not have grace in these certain situations. We're not given that opportunity. So how we can combat this as an industry as a whole is making sure that we conduct thorough mock surveys, um, so that we can mitigate these risks. A lot of corporations do their own mock surveys, but I'd like to challenge you in this. How much does it cost you to do this at your corporation? A lot of you are saying, "Oh, it costs me nothing." Well, that is incorrect, because each one of those corporate members are paid a salary, and they're leaving their day-to-day activities to come and assist you in your facility. And not only that, your IDT also has daily activities, and they are placing those aside, to help facilitate this mock survey. That's different with us. You're not losing those key operation hours. We are very self-sufficient when it comes to this when we come into your facility. And at the end of the day, the only thing that we request from you is that we meet with you and we do a mini exit each day. And then, of course, at the very end, you will have a list of your preliminary deficiencies that we have found, and a couple of recommendations until we get the comprehensive survey report back to you, which takes us about a week to do so. So it's a very fast turnaround time, for facilities so that they can start working. Not only that, after we do this, we follow you, we assist you, we are here for you. We don't just leave you there and alone. We continue to follow up that need with you guys. So we make sure that you're continuing that compliance journey, because that is what quality assurance, quality improvement is. It is a continuous journey, for you to make sure that you are stable. So one incident, an example of this that we had is we had a facility that, was working with us, and they had reoccurring issues with documentations. Actually, it was medication errors in their passes. During their mock survey, we identified these gaps, in their staff training, and their policy alignment. And so we were able to mitigate those issues, by addressing those areas proactively, which the facility fortunately avoided a significant deficiency during their annual survey. So if we identify these issues, these key elemental issues that could result in a CMP, a harm tag or above, we automatically stop what we're doing, and then we start a performance improvement plan immediately. If it is an immediate jeopardy, we do exactly like they do, as far as state survey goes. We will notify the administrator of that immediacy, but we work with you to create a 4-point plan, remove the immediacy that day, and how we can sure that this doesn't happen again. And that is for your copy. That is part of your privileged information just in case you need it. You wouldn't give that to a surveyor unless it is necessary, for you to so. And if it is necessary for you to do so, hopefully then, with you self-identifying that, you will have a little bit of grace as far as that is concerned. Next slide. Despite the best preparation that facilities do, deficiencies do still occur. This is where our post-survey consulting comes in. After a survey, we've dealt with a lot of facilities that often feel overwhelmed by the corrective actions that are required for them to be back in compliance. But we're here to help you with that. Our approach includes that detailed 2567 review, complete systems evaluations along with your 2567, and policy review for tailored corrective action strategies, meaning that we don't just write your plan of correction for each one of your tags. We make sure that you have the key knowledge, the training, and the ability to pass compliance. So we set you up for success. Oftentimes, what we see is facilities will write elaborate plans, and they are beautifully written, but are they executed? That is part of our strategy is to make sure that you are able to execute what is written as your plan of corrections so that you do not have any issues with compliance or regaining compliance. This post-survey consulting is from a harm tag down. Of course, our immediate jeopardy is separate. So if it is related to a harm tag, there is more things that go into compliance with your 2567, but we're here to support that to make sure that you can. An example of this is one of the facilities that we've assisted had a 400 plus page 2567 with multiple deficiencies. Unfortunately, this facility had multiple immediate jeopardies, so it was a catch-22. And then on top of their immediate jeopardies, and we were able to help them with resolve, they have 45 other tags, which is significant, right? That's one of the biggest that we've worked. But honestly, they were surveyed. They were brought back in for revisit. The surveyors were wonderful. They were like, "We're ready to get this done," and we're like, "We're ready to get this done." We happened to be on site helping conduct this return to compliance. And 12 hours later, love the surveyors for this. At 8 o'clock that night, the facility was returned back to compliance. That was an extensive day, and that was a lot of work on not just our part, but the facility's part as well. But it also presents, if you are confident and in your 2567, in your plan, in your staff, and you give them the knowledge and the courage to be confident, then they will shine in front of surveyors, and you want them to, because they're great people that work for you, because they choose to do long-term care and take care of our geriatric population in our country. So, next slide. Last but not least, one of the solutions that is very popular for us is our immediate jeopardy resolution. Everybody knows this requires immediate action. If you do not take immediate action, critical safety issues continue to happen and your fines accrue. This does cause operational disruptions, and is our goal is for our team to mobilize to you if need be, if you want us on site within 24 to 48 hours. As I had mentioned before, we have not missed this time frame to support facilities no matter where we've been. We hold that very high to our standards. We know that it is significantly important for you to get to work with us immediately to identify the root cause of your immediate jeopardy, to develop your removal plan for that immediacy, to return back into compliance after that immediacy, and then to ensure we stay compliant further on. Again, example of this is one of our facilities that we've worked with called us after receiving immediate jeopardy citations related to infection control. We arrived the next day. We conducted a rapid root cause analysis, implemented new protocols, updated policies as needed, ad hoc copied it, educated staff, got almost 90% of the staff educated that day, and were able to return and get that compliance return as soon as possible. It was returned within like 48 hours of a stepping indoors, which is pretty significant. Just because they accept your plan of correction doesn't mean that you're necessarily in compliance. You can be out of compliance. That's where we come in. There are a lot of times that people miss things. An example of this is a facility that we helped in Louisiana this past month on elopement. They alleged compliance with their immediate jeopardies and they called us afterwards to assist with continuation of post survey. Those immediate jeopardies then were deduced to actual G tags, which still hold monetary penalty weight, but it was related to accidents and incidents F689, which we all know too well. Anyways, they allege compliance again with with their plan of correction as far as the harm tags go, but when we go in to verify that, that is not the case. If we would have not conducted audits the way that we did, and kept the staff accountable because there's so much going on in the process of all this, then this facility would not have been able to maintain compliance. So there are things that can be missed, and that's why you work with us, is because we reduce the risk of that T being crossed or that I being dotted. When you are done with us and we turn in your plan of correction, anything that goes along with it, we are there for your entire journey until revisit and you are deemed in compliance. Unfortunately, no, fortunately, not unfortunately, you are stuck with us. We're going in this together and we're here to support you. You might not want that, but I promise you, at the end of the day, you do. You might think, oh my goodness, they found something else. Well, think of it like this. Thank gosh they found it and not the state that I'm reporting to, because then you can get into serious trouble. If you go through another cycle of non-compliance, then you go into denial of payment. And then it just sets you up for worsening CMPs, etc. So the goal in all of this is, especially with immediate jeopardy resolution, is to stop the bleeding. You want to stop the CMPs, not just for your residents' safety and concerns, but for your staff morale and your operational stability. If you do not stop the immediacy, then you continue in this spiral downhill with all of the things that I mentioned above. So that's why we're here to help with this. Remember, we've been in a lot of situations, so staying cool, calm, and collective in this it is important. And what might be so detrimental, it might seem so detrimental, we've probably seen before. We've had something similar. So the call to action is a lot faster than having to think through, like, okay, step one, I need to do this. Step two, I need to do this. Step three, I need to do this. So that does help in a pinch, when you're trying to resolve immediate jeopardies. Next slide. These are our additional services that we offer. Leadership Bridge is exactly what it is. It's helping you through interim periods when you're looking to hire leadership roles. Unfortunately for us, we see this often is that we have a knowledge gap when people take positions, and it has become even significantly worse since 2020, since COVID. I hate to say that, and the burnout. And then the revolving door, if you have to use agency or competing for staff, especially in rural areas. If the facility down the road is offering somebody $10 more, but you can't offer that because of operational cost, then you oftentimes lose those key position and people, and that's significant. You know, e- everybody thinks that it would be an easy thing just to increase everybody's rate of pay to what you do as far as an agency staff member's pay would be. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work like that, and it's not that quite of an easy fix. So we're here to help with those leadership bridges, to make sure that those key responsibilities do not get put to the side. So you still continue the flow and the natural flow of your facility. Infection control improvements, again, is what it is. Review of strengthening your policies and practices to meet those regulatory requirements. On Thursday of this week, we have a blog coming out about the new enhanced barriers. We finally got some, we finally got some feedback from the state survey agencies regarding the requirements. Thank you, Jonas. Regarding the requirements for enhanced barrier precautions, we've had this memo released for a while now. I think it's been almost a year. It'll be a year the first quarter of 2025, but no one has told us how we should practice that. It's almost as if one facility goes way overboard, and that's operational cost as far as supplies go, and then one facility doesn't go far enough, so that is CMP issues, potential harm tags related to it. So it's like a catch 22, and we can't meet it halfway. We have met halfway now. We have finally gotten some guidance as far as how we should perform enhanced barrier precautions, and the breakdown of that memo and examples of what enhanced barrier precautions are and who should be in it, the different types of PPD protocols, etc., associated with the different enhanced barriers. So Jonas put that in chat. Make sure you check us out on Thursday, because we will be releasing that blog. That blog is scheduled to release that day, after our calls are done. Quality program development. Our company is based on quality assurance, quality improvement. A lot of times facilities like, oh, I have got the best QAPI program, and we root behind you. Like, if you do, that is great. Spread your knowledge to your peers, please, because a lot of times we hear that and it is not so great. We see a lot of gaps in that true IDT meaning of QIPI, and oftentimes for the administrators and the DONs on the call, it falls on your shoulders, and it's easier for you to hand walk somebody through something than holding them accountable, because it's your responsibility to have the accurate data and numbers, to report out to your quality committee. We truly believe that this is truly an IDT approach. Each department has their own quality assurance and quality improvement, and it is getting on the level of that department manager to help them understand and educate them and rise them above that, so that you have what you need when you come to monthly QAPI. If your QAPI program is working and your departments are able to function individually, then and only then can you bring each other together as an entire team and hold each other accountable for each department, and truly work together to better the lives of our residents. And that is what quality assurance, making sure that we are auditing and checking, and then performance improvement really is. from our quality assurance data, how are we implementing and taking those key items and improving on them and continuously evolving? That's what states want to see. They don't want to see that you are 100% across the board because that is not true. Nobody is. We are humans taking care of humans and things happen. It is what you do when things happen that really defines your facility culture and sets you on a positive outlook as far as CMS goes. I was told once if you do things at the right time for the right reasons and the right purpose, then everything else falls into place. And I really feel that's what QAPI does for us. Last but not least is MDS optimization. We NDSs are key. A lot of times, administrators and DONs do not even know what all is captured on their NDS. So we break this down for them because this is where your money comes from, and the majority of your money is coming from your clinical department and what services they provide. So we want to make sure that that is captured accurately. The documentation supports that capture, so you don't have to give that money back when you are audited, because you will be audited. That is part of regulations that were set forth in phase one, two, and three prior to COVID even existing us. They set CMS set that way back when in 2017 when they initiated the phases, and we need to be compliant in phase three. So with that being said, you want to make sure that your money that you acquire from the services that you provide do not get deducted off of your top line. And that's where MDS, accurate documentation and maximizing reimbursement opportunities come into play. Next slide. So here is some of our client testimonies. Yes, thank you, Jackie. Book your free consultation, please. Let us help you work through things with you if you need to in the chat. These are some of our client testimonies that we've worked with us over the years. This facility had a high number of facility acquired pressure ulcers, which we know falls underneath a substandard quality of care federal regulatory group, meaning that if you were found at fault at this, that you have a high likelihood of having a citation that is a harm or higher, and then holds and constrains you with CMP findings. So the best way to mitigate this is through performance improvement projects, QAPI implementation, best practice resolutions, audits that we assist with performing. At the end of this QAPI work, we were able to reduce that facility's pressure ulcers by almost 10%, which is just amazing. Now, there are clients that we're going to have or that have residents there that, are hospice, etc., and they're at higher risk for those such things. When we want to make sure that if we have facility acquired pressure ulcers, that we have the most accurate documentation to show that we have tried everything for that resident. But this is just a normal process of, a terminal illness, etc., as it progresses. That's the only type of facility acquired pressure ulcers that we really want to have, but we don't want those. But if we had to have them, that would be the best case scenario. So the other component of this is not just an overview of your pressure ulcer, your pressures, your skin audits, etc. It is also ensuring that we have the accurate documentation to support such things in your facility. Next slide. This was a client that worked with us as far as staffing turnover. As we know, PB&J is not going away. We have increased staffing mandates, and they are going to be finalized. And however that falls, it's going to be that we're going to be required to have more staff than what is required of us now. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. What really is unfortunate for us, as far as long-term care goes, is that we're really struggling with the ability to keep staff. So reduction of turnover is one component of this when we work with clients, but the other component is why do your staff stay? Why do your long-term staff stay? What is great that you're doing? Not always bad, but what is great? There's always improvements, but we also want to highlight those key successes that you're doing as a facility, and where we can help reduce that turnover for you guys. This facility worked with us. They were in a high competitive market, um, and their staff turnover was pretty high. When we were all said and done, they were at an impressive 0%. And that doesn't even include the operational gains that they had that year. The facility was able to make budget because they eliminated the need for agency. And we don't count that as eliminating agency for 1 month. We count that for an entire quarter, like you have stabilized out that you do not require agency for an entire quarter, right? That is how you know you have been successful in this. So they were able to eliminate agency, and also not only that, the onboarding process accruement of monies was reduced. So that also helped with this facility making budget. And as our administrators know, when you make budget, you're doing well. And that means that you have more money available to put back into your facility, to put back into your residents, and to your staff overall. Next slide. So this facility was working on falls. We all know that falls are significant with us, and every survey, we know they're going to look at falls. It's one of their high risk areas. It's one of our high risk areas. Falls do happen, especially when you're dealing with patients like we do. Some are cognitively declined, some are not, but what they don't have cognitively, they've lost the ability in acute on chronic processes or just acute processes. So they're weakened when they come to our door. So falls do occur. So our goal when we do fall reduction with facilities is to reduce by 10% um, for a relative improvement rate. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that is a manageable number and that is significant. If you're doing like a 10% reduction, this facility in particular, we love them dearly. They were having 30 to 40 plus falls per month, which is significant. They were very unique in their situation. But we were able to reduce that to almost like mid 20s, which was really great. I mean, that's amazing for them. Um, and then for falls with injuries to degrees to 0% is wonderful. And how we do that is we truly have to identify the root cause and teach people how to do that. It's okay to say, you know what, we've missed the ball on this. That's okay. That's the whole point of improvement. Sometimes we do. Again, we're humans taking care of humans. Particularly, this facility had an issue with how they were staffing people around their facility, and it just took somebody looking in to help with the overall structure of that to help with that. And not only that, this facility was very unique in its population mix, which is fine, which we often find ourselves in now. They come with a lot of mental illnesses on top of those chronic diseases into our facilities. It was honestly first taking who was repetitive falls over the course of a quarter and then breaking down each one of those individual residents from top to bottom to find out a root cause for each one of them. It was a lot of work, but it paid off for them. They actually went through a survey, and then it was deficiency free. And then they went through a federal survey as well after that, and they were not cited for accidents at all, which is just amazing. This is one of my favorite testimonies that we've had. I'm not saying that's possible for everybody, but it is if we work that diligently to this. This is our goal. This was one of the best outcomes available that we could have had as far as our clinical consulting. Next slide. So here is just a couple of our case studies and our guides that we have. You can find these on our website just as well, and keep tabs on it because we update all the time with new guides that come out, any type of memo that's out there. We always try to highlight over and make sure we have the facilities have what they need to remain in compliance and be on top of things. And then we're always here for guidance if you need us and resources. Like again, tomorrow we're releasing the guide as far as enhanced barrier precautions. And this January through February, we'll be working through all of the changes that are occurring for your survey, for your state surveyors, what they're being held to as far as standards, and then what you are expected to be compliant on as of February 24th. We want you guys to be successful in your journey. Next slide. If you are interested in talking to us, this is free for you guys. It's a free consultation. You can click right there. You can scan your QR code. You can subscribe to our blogs. If you want to just ask us any type of question, you're more than happy to email us at solutions@qsource.org. We're here to help you, and we will get you answers. We will not leave you without resolution. Next slide. Do we have any questions at all? Make sure you use the chat for any questions. If you're nervous to ask questions here, don't forget that you can always email us, please. We're here to help. We would love to help you guys through whatever we can. Um, that's why we're here. If there's no questions, um, we thank you for coming today. Please book your free consultation. Keep us in mind as we move through the next couple of months for compliance updates and regulatory requirements. These updates are not state specific. They are federal mandates and they will be across our nation. So they will affect every state. So please stay tuned with us so that way we can make sure you continue on your compliance journey and your facility shines. Thank you guys so much for coming with us today and happy holidays. We appreciate you.